Well, hello YouTubers, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are back in Nebraska, in the White River Badlands. We're going to go fossil hunting again. We do this every year. We have a great time at it. We've got a pretty spectacular sunset going on as we're pulling into the Badlands, headed for the High Plains homestead where we're going to stay for the better part of 2 weeks. That'll be our base camp for fossil hunting. Unfortunately, this spectacular sunset is caused by lots of smoke in the atmosphere from Canadian wildfires. It seems like half of Canada's on fire, and, well, Wyoming and Nebraska seem to be bearing the brunt of it. We've been getting a lot of smoke. So hopefully it will dissipate soon. The forecast, I don't know, they'll take it out in the forecast for tomorrow, then put it back in tomorrow. So it doesn't seem to be going away. Anyway, that's my wife up ahead. She's towing our camper, and I'm letting her brake trail at whatever speed she's comfortable with because she's got the heavy load. And I am carrying our ATV. I'm towing it. And I'm going to let her get a little ahead because of the dust situation out here. This road is very dry and dusty. And I'm tired of eating the dust. Anyway, the smoke is kind of obscuring the beautiful landscape over here in the Pine Bluff area. So, yeah, it's gorgeous landscape on a clear day, let me tell you. And I thought I'd give you one last look at the Badlands at sunset. It's an amazing landscape. Oh, and we have a special treat in this series of videos this year. I'm going to be out here with Steve Vicari of Paleo Analysis. Check out his channel if you haven't already. I'll put a link to his channel down in the video description too. So Steve's becoming a regular out here as well. So we're going to go up the road here a little further. I'm catching up to my wife. I'm going to let her get ahead because of the dust. We're going to go up the road here a little further. We're almost to the High Plains homestead, and we're going to get set up, get our camp set up, and it'll probably be dark by then, so we'll be back tomorrow. I'll show you some of the prep work we have to do before we go into the field. And if we're lucky, we might get into the field tomorrow, maybe a half a day worth. If we get our nose to the grindstone and get all our prep work done, just maybe. So I will see you in the morning. Well, it's the next morning. We're all set up over here at the High Plains homestead. This will be our base camp for, well, not quite 2 weeks while we do our fossil hunting. So we got our camper set up, disconnected the ATV. The other members of this year's expedition pulled in last night, and they're staying in the various cabins around here. We're the only ones camping. We're the tough ones. Anyway, everybody else is just starting to stir. It's early in the morning. They're getting to get their breakfast, get dressed, and then we'll start on our prep work. And hopefully we can get at least a half a day in the field today. We'll see. I know several of the other members are just chomping at the bit to get out in the field. So we'll see how it goes. So from up here at the homestead, looking down on some of the rough and rugged Badlands type area that we're going to be hunting in. Not this particular area. Our stretch is, you know, a good distance away. Can't tell you exactly where it is, sorry. But we're going to be hunting in this sort of Badlands. So we've got to get everything ready that we need to take in because we're going to be far away from base camp. We're going to be out there all day, probably till sunset. So everything we could conceivably need, we need to take with us every day when we go into the field. It's beautiful country though. It's really beautiful. It's like nothing I'd ever seen before when I first came out here. It's amazing. And it goes on forever. Forever. White River Badlands are huge. Okay, let me join the others and we'll get started on our prep work shortly. So there's my wife over there filling up water jugs so we can make plaster jackets in the field. We'll have some water with us. So we got to go make up bags of plaster and burlap so we can build those jackets. So I'll head over there to the room we're doing that and we'll help out. Steve, getting ready to give someone a prostate exam? Lisa and I have been in here filling bags of plaster and getting it all over me and her. And now we've got to put those bags of plaster in some burlap in these green bags. And we got a bottle of water to it, and we're ready to go out in the field and make plaster jackets when we find a critter. So we got to cut some burlap though, but we have plenty. We've just got to get the scissors out and get to cutting. Lots of cutting of burlap going on. Cutting and rolling, cutting and rolling. I'm over here cutting it myself. We get these burlap sacks from coffee houses. Any kind of fancy roast their own beans coffee house is going to have a ton of burlap sacks in the back room they don't know what to do with. So we're cutting them up to make burlap rolls. We're in our bags to take in the field so we can make plaster jackets. The burlap reinforces the plaster. So I got to get back to cutting.
He wasn't even good there. And he gave up his career for that.
Who's that?
Michael Miller.
Well, I didn't know what to put on. You need to go stand.
Well, we got all our prep work done and we are heading out on the first day. We should be able to get in 6 to 8 hours, I suppose. So, giving the lead car over there a good lead because of the dust issues. And we're just going to drive through the Badlands to our hunting spot. There's my lovely wife, ready to go. And the rest of the crew, all decked out. There's Steve, Mr. Paleo Analysis, out here actually doing some paleontology in the field. So this is the area we're going to hunt today. Easy access because they got a lot of rain out here recently, about 7 inches. And some areas are kind of sloppy and we don't want to get stuck. So this area here, easy access. We can drive right up to the edge of it and hike in and spend the rest of the day out here. We got about 7.5 hours of sunset or something. So we'll see what we can find. So I've hardly walked down this hill. You can still see the top of one of the trucks up there. Still entering. People still going in. Right here at my feet, there's a piece of broken bone sticking out. I'm going to probe around and see if there's anything else here. If not, move on. So let me start probing. Well, I thought this was just one broken bone, but it looks like we've got several bones here in kind of a mass. I don't know what it is. And as I'm probing around carefully with my pick, I can feel that it goes down in here a little ways. So I'm going to do a little more digging. It's probably nothing, but you never know until you follow it and see where it goes. It might be the tip of something really good. Odds are it's not, but, you know, I got to probe it, see. So first I think I'm going to put some boot bar glue on the exposed part because it looks like it wants to fall apart. So let me glue that all together and then I'll probe deeper. So I've covered that exposed area bone with boot var, and while it dries I'm just going to poke around this area and see what else I can find in the immediate area. I think I saw another bone over here. Yeah. Little piece of bone laying up there. I don't know if it's showing up. I'll go up to this ridge top and look around because obviously it must have tumbled down from up there. So let me go climb up there and put the phone down and do that and look around up there. There's a tooth right there. And there's another piece of tooth right there. So let me keep climbing up this ridge, following this trail, see if there's anything to be found up here. Oh, sorry, I'm working in my own shadow over here. Didn't find anything on top of that ridge, following that trail of teeth up, and the teeth weren't worth collecting, so I just left them. Back over here, the boot var glue is pretty much dried up, so I'm going to continue excavating this and see how deep it goes and whether there's anything interesting here. So let me get to digging. Well, unfortunately, as with 90% of the stuff you dig up or you probe around on, it doesn't turn out to be anything. It's just a couple of shattered bones or one big shattered bone. It's hard to tell. But, you know, it's unidentifiable. It didn't go down as deep as I thought. So, I mean, there's another little piece of bone down there. But really, there doesn't seem to be anything else probing around. You always tell when you hit bone by the sound. But, yeah, there doesn't really seem to be anything else. So I think I will pack up and move on to another spot. I've been hiking uphill, following the trail of bones up this wash. And there, by the looks of them, I figured they were tortoise. And now I'm starting to see bits of tortoise shell. So sure enough, tortoise, but probably too far gone, if I even find the main mass of it. It's all in pieces down this wash. There's another piece of tortoise shell right there. And another. Yeah, this white area, this is probably where the tortoise eroded out originally. It's all just falling apart and washed down the hill, both sides by the looks of it. There's bits of tortoise shell in this wash going down the other side of the hill. Must have been a big one. It's all gone. Gotta keep looking. Something's just starting to erode out. Yep, here's the remains of another tortoise. All blown apart by freeze-thaw cycles and frost heave. Really nothing left of it worth even trying to collect. It's all blown apart or exploded and washing down the hill. So, gotta keep looking for something just starting to peek out of the matrix. Find something eventually. So I'm high up on a hill. My wife is way over there. Bill's over there. Saw some dog carnivore teeth. Looking to see if he's got any other parts of the animal there. Cena's over there. I think Steve and Nancy are down in one of the troughs over there digging, but I'm not sure. And I don't know where Mike went. He gets his pack over there. So we've all spread out. We're all hunting our own areas, trying not to get in each other's way, doing our own thing, seeing what we can find. So here we have some classic cases of leverrites. Leave them right there because they aren't fossils. They are chalcedony crystals that are doing a really good job of imitating teeth eroding out of the matrix. Teeth and bits of jaw, but nope, Isn't that what they are? They aren't fossils, they're just crystals. So, yeah, there's a whole mass of crystals eroding out of the side of the hill up there. Little fault lines in the Badlands fill with chalcedony and sometimes gypsum, and you wind up with these crystals eroding out. And sometimes they'll fool you, but they're not fossils. So here we have another case of a leverite. Found these pieces of bone here, but they're modern, they're not fossilized. Probably pieces of a cow or a deer that predators have torn apart and just scattered the bits around the Badlands. I see another piece over there, the same bone, whatever it was. So, yep, that's not a fossil. Gotta keep looking. Can you see that hole over there? Zoom in a little. There it is. Something living over there. That's a den. Well, after my experience a couple weeks ago in Arizona where I poked my head in an old mine and there was a bobcat in it, I'm going to give that a wide berth. Because clearly something's living in there. Could be a coyote den, could be another bobcat den. But I'm going to leave it alone and head off in a different direction. Don't need any toothy wildlife encounters today. Well, I'm headed over to an area where I have found bones eroding out of the matrix in the past, but they never amounted to much. So I'm going to go over there and see if anything new's eroded out. But of course, I'm not just hiking over there, I'm hunting my way over. And what I've come across here is a hole where somebody dug something out of here in the past. Hopefully one of us, because we have the exclusive lease to this land to hunt on it from the owner. But yeah, somebody dug something out. Probably tortoise, I would imagine. There's some scattered tortoise stuff around it. Must have been pretty well preserved for somebody to bother digging it out. So let me keep hunting my way slowly and carefully over to where I want to go. And maybe I'll find something good on the way. Well, here's my first decent find of the day. I've been following a bone trail up this steep hill. I'm almost to the area where I wanted to go, because I've seen stuff eroding out of this hill before. And here we are. Got a piece of jaw with teeth in it here. Another piece up here. So let me collect these. And then we'll go looking further up the hill here and see if we can see where they're coming from. Or if there's any more of the critter or other critters. This hill seems to have maybe several or a lot of critters in it. So I always find stuff here. So altogether, I found 4 bits of jaw and teeth here in this area. And they're pretty big. They're pretty big teeth. I would say that's one of the larger species of oreodont right there. So let me go look around on this hill and see what else might be here. I always seem to find something over here. Well, if there's a skull eroding out of the hill that those teeth and bits of jaw came from, it should be right around in this area. But I am not seeing it. It may have just be too far gone. It may just be down to bits. I'll keep looking though. The bone really stands out pretty well against the gray-green or gray-pink layers of clay here. You know, different layers have different colors. Some are gray-green, some are gray-pink. But the bone tends to be sort of yellow-orange, dull yellow-orange, and it sticks out. Fossilized bone anyway. Fresh bone is bleached white. So I'll keep looking, see what I can find. I'll also go around the other side of this hill where I found stuff before, see if there's anything good there. But man, I would like to find the skull that those teeth and jaw pieces came out of. It can't be far away from right where I'm standing. Huh. If it's still here and not just in pieces. way down there in the wash by now, which it could be. So I'll keep looking, see what I find. Well, unfortunately, didn't find anything else any good on this hill, and I've looked it over pretty well. But I'll be back in the future. I'll keep coming back here every year because it has been a very productive hill, and you never know what might erode out by next year or the year after. So anyway, I'm going to move on. More modern bone here. Looks like maybe a cow femur that's been all busted up into pieces by predators and scattered around. Ball end down there. So, nope, not looking for modern bones. Go look around over here some. Okay, I've come about 100 yards from my favorite hill over there. And here's a big piece of jaw with teeth. Unfortunately, it's all in a lot of pieces. It's all falling apart. But let me probe around and see if there's any more bone beneath it. You know, there could be a whole skull down there. The skull could be upside down and missing the lower jaw, and we could be looking at part of the upper jaw there. So let me probe around and see what we've got. Maybe even figure out what kind of critter this is. Probably an Orionot. When in doubt, Orionot. But it could be horse too, or it could be a couple of other things. So let me see if I can figure it out. So the senior member of our group thinks I need to at least do a foil jacket over that torn up Orionot jaw and dig around it and see if there's more bone underneath it. So I'd walked hundreds and hundreds of yards away from my pack. So walking back to it, and then walking back to the jaw, taking two different paths each time so I could hunt both ways. I found a couple of interesting bone trails, but they just led to more exploded tortoises or nothing at all. And then here's a great big coprolite found right here. Basically fossilized animal poop. So I'll keep this, give it to Mike S. for our education program, where we teach kids about fossils, show them what they look like. Kids go nuts over fossilized poop. They think it's the coolest thing in the world. So I'll keep that, and let me hike back over to the jaw. It's pretty close now. So this could just be a fool's errand, but it's the best thing I've found all day. So I guess it's worth making sure that there isn't something even better underneath it. I think the first thing I'm going to do, I'll gather up these little pieces right here, put them all on top of this. So I've got them all. There's a lot of pieces here. There's a piece of tooth. It's a toothy animal. A lot of teeth. Alright, and then I'm gonna, once I get all the pieces together, I'm gonna cover this whole area here with boot bar glue. And it's a warm day, warm sunny day, so this stuff should harden up pretty quick. And I'll cover this with some foil, dig around it, probing carefully with my ice pick. Make sure I'm not digging into bone. So you can hear when you hit bone, pretty easy. And dig it out and flip it over, and maybe boot bar the rest of it and wrap it all in foil and take it home, and on someday when I'm bored, pick through it and see if there really is the other half of the jaw in there somewhere. That'd be nice. Half a jaw with teeth, that'd be nice. Let's let this boot bar dry up, and then I'll get to digging. Alright, the boot bar's had a bit of a chance to dry. I'm gonna cover, well, in theory, I'm gonna cover this with some loose soil. The problem is finding some loose soil. So it's pretty well hard packed. Let me make some loose soil with my rock hammer here. Cover it with soil to protect it. Okay. Now I'm going to cover this mound with some aluminum foil. I'll dig around and pop that out. And we'll see what we got. Well, not right away. That's the problem, unfortunately, with fossil hunting. You don't generally get to see what you've got right away. Because prepping this in the field is not a good idea. Because it takes away from hunting and finding more stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just dig this out, and in some future time, like I said, on the day when I'm bored, I'll dig through it and see if there's any more intact jaw or other bone in it. But not for now. I just need to get it out and then look and see if I can find anything else good. I'm going to probe around here. My ice pick, make sure I'm not hitting any bone. So far, nothing. Okay. Like I said, this is probably a fool's errand, but, well, you never know. Shard of bone right there. So, let me get this dug out and foil jacket it. I'll wrap it in layers of aluminum foil and duct tape and just take it back to the truck. And someday we'll see if there's anything good in it. Well, there it is, all dug out and wrapped up. Shattered Oreo jaw plus more question mark. Don't know. Well, I'm pretty close to the top of the slope here, the grass line, and the truck shouldn't be too far off that way. I think I'll just hike this over to the trucks and drop it off and leave all my pack and my other equipment here and come back down here and resume searching the Badlands for the rest of the day. See if I can find something else. Something better. That'd be nice. Okay, so I just met up with my wife out here. We were chatting, and I was just walking away, gonna go search a different area. Look down and see that big section of jaw with some teeth in it, and those look to me like they could be carnivore teeth. Carnivores are rare. They're very rare and sought after because, you know, it takes like 1,000 herbivores to support one carnivore. So they're very rare. Not sure what kind of carnivore it is, and it's just laying out here on the flat like this, so I'm probing around, but I don't know. I'm thinking it must have come from upslope somewhere, because it's just laying on top of the surface here. It's not like eroding out. So I got to look around some more and see if I can find some more of this critter and then get it identified and see what it is. Not sure what it could be. So Steve Vicari wandered by and I showed him this. And from the sharp intake of breath, which was hilarious, he's like, "Where did you find this?" And I'm like, "Right here." He says, "What are you doing talking to me? Go find the rest of this critter." And he looked at it and he looked at it and he thought, "I don't think it's cat, but it could be bear dog. But it's awfully big for bear dog, so I'm not sure." So I'm going to show it to a couple of other experts tonight and see if we can get this identified. It's definitely carnivore though. But the problem is, I have looked around for the rest of this critter. The way it's laying on the flat like this, you know, not eroding out, it had to have come from upslope somewhere and wound up there, maybe in the recent heavy rains. But I have looked It's upslope that direction, it's upslope that direction, and it's upslope that direction. And I have looked and looked and looked. And I can't even find another bone or tooth in this area to save my life. There's nothing. It's like a fossil-free zone, except for that right there. So, I don't know where they came from. I'll look around a little more. But we're seriously burning daylight here. And I'm not finding anything else. So, I'm going to pack these up in a cotton-filled pill bottle. And look around a little more and then go hunt another area because I'm not finding anything else here. So I'm about 50 yards away from where I found those teeth, which is over there on the other side of that hill. And well, I found some chunks of bone sticking out of the side of this hill. And I'm probing around, and there's a pretty big bone here that seems to be going back into the hill. It's pretty shattered, but I'm going to try and carefully excavate and see how big it is and how far in it goes and how complete it is. So you gotta try probing and excavating every time you find something, because you never know what it'll lead to. So let me get to digging. Well, the more I uncover, the more I find. So not only is this big bone diving deep into the hill up here, but there's some more bones up here. I've boot-varred all this and I'm waiting for it to dry and very gently digging back the matrix around this area. I'm going to have to go back up the hill here into it and see what the extent of this thing is. Not sure what it is yet. Steve Vigari of Paleo Analysis came by again. And we chatted, and he looked at it, and we're both in agreement this is either titanothere, but we're a little high for titanothere. That pile of rocks down there, that's the nodular layer that separates the oriodont beds, which are higher, from the titanothere beds, which are lower. So technically we are in the oriodont beds. Doesn't mean there couldn't be titanothere up here somehow. Things get moved around. Geologic forces. It could be a very, very large oriodont. There were some that got up to cow size. Or it could be rhino. There would have been rhinos here too. So, just going to have to uncover more of it and see, and maybe get some other expert opinions. I see my wife passing not too far away, about a quarter mile. I'll call her over and see what she thinks. Well, it's turned into an interesting afternoon. Yep. This is a skull. Yep. This is a skull. That's the nose. Brain case. The pieces I found on the surface are parts of the brain case. There's some leg bones here. But I'll tell you what, 20 yards away, Bill's excavating another skull with lots of leg bones and toe bones and knee bones and ribs.
Call it a skull as a stretch, though.
Yeah, well, it has teeth.
It used to be a skull.
It used to be a skull. Yeah, the teeth were exposed at the surface, so they were easy to see, but the rest of the animal, looks like most of it, is actually in the hill there, in pieces. So, this one here, got some leg bones here, got another bone here that dives down into the hill this way, so I'm trying to save them while I get the skull out. It's going to take a lot of excavating. So I don't want to get too close to the skull, and I don't want to lose these bones over here. So I'm going to have to dig a big hole and then jacket it all with plaster and burlap. And, well, this is probably going to turn into a multi-day project because the sun's getting low. But that's okay. I can come back and work on it another day. But I'm going to work on it until they finally call it and we head back to the homestead. All right. So this is what was showing. Row of teeth, some loose jaw, and Bill's been finding all kinds of leg bones, toe bones, kneecaps. They just found some vertebra.
Right there.
Line of vertebrae.
With the ribs underneath them.
Yep. Very cool. This is a good hill.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I guess you would call those thoracic vertebrae since they have wood.
Okay. So back to my own excavation. The hole's getting bigger. I try to dig around the skull in the center so I can jacket it and as many of the other bones as I can, and then be able to get the jacket out. I'm gonna have to dig a big hole here. This is matrix, hard as a rock below about 3 inches. All right, so I've got it all mushroomed out and covered with aluminum foil. I'm going to make a plaster and burlap jacket for it. Sorry I haven't been filming this, and I'm not going to film it until it's done because we're racing the setting sun, setting through the Canadian smoke. It's already getting dark. So I got to get to work. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Well, there it is. We're going to let it harden up, and then we're debating on whether to take it out tonight or wait till tomorrow. But I got plenty of muscle, though. We'll see. And it's really not too far up to the grass. Then it's nice and level hike to the trucks for a change. Ah, look at this. These guys are even carrying it out for me. What great friends they have. And we got it out before dark. All right. Yeehaw. Well, made it back to the homestead and got both my jackets here. Now on this big one here, a lot of the matrix came out when we flipped it, but fortunately all the bones still seem to be in there. But hey, that just made it lighter to carry. Got the pieces of brain case here. We collected them and put them in foil jackets. While I was mushrooming it, some pieces of jaw and teeth fell out, so we got them in here too. So basically we've got all the critter that I could get out right here. And then this was the first Oreodont skull I found. So I got 2 Oreodont skulls today. That's a first. Don't think I've ever got 2 skulls in one day before. All right, so we'll see what tomorrow brings. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video at all interesting, educational, informative, whatever, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see my future videos. There'll be more videos in this series coming out. This is only the first day. We're going to be out here for 10 days total. So yeah, subscribe to see those future videos. And check out my second channel, ElectroGeek64, if you're at all interested in electronics or retro computing. And hey, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this one. Bye.